Okay, is there anyone else running for the position? The nomination is closed.
Okay.
The accountant won't be here today. Mr. Young?
Okay, first thing I think the board needs to address is the recent lawsuit that was filed against Coquina, which does have to be addressed, has to be answered. And I think what the board has to do today is two things: make a determination whether or not they have insurance coverage that would afford the defense of this lawsuit, and if not, to make a decision to hire a firm to represent Coquina. And that's why Mr. William Doney is here. He's a partner with the law firm of Caldwell, Bassetti, and West Palm.
Yes.
And if it's a question of having to hire the law firm, I would, of course, highly recommend his firm. His firm in the past has represented Coquina on litigation matters. They're very specialized in the field of special districts such as Coquina, independent districts. So I think that's the first thing we have to address. Does anyone on the board know offhand if there is insurance coverage that would afford representation?
No,
There's not.
I don't know. No of any.
Okay, well then I can't make motions, but I would leave it up to the board to consider a motion to hire Caldwell Bassetti's firm to represent Coquina.
I'll make a motion for that.
A second? All in favor?
Vote. Okay, I see, okay. I'm not conducting the meeting, I'm just bringing this one point up, but the motion has been passed, the Coquina has agreed to hire the firm of Caldwell Bassetti, and we'll make arrangements for that.
Yes.
As soon as we can, Mr. Doney. And also, Mr. Doney is here at the request of the chairman, again, because his firm is a firm that's highly recognized as a specialist in dealing with special districts, especially independent districts, more or less with a single purpose, which is what Coquina is, as a public corporation. And if any members of the board has any questions of Mr. Doney, anything that he could perhaps clarify for them, now would be the time to ask him. If I may, I would ask, since the landowner's election is coming up next week, next month, excuse me.
Next one.
And my understanding of the landowners meeting is for the purpose of electing one supervisor to fill in a slot that is up for reconsideration. This is a landowners meeting, and it's not the board of directors. You people that own property and live there or own property will make this determination. I believe, Mr. Doney, you can correct me if I'm wrong, one of your first obligations will be to select a chairman to conduct the meeting. The chairman can appoint who he wants as a secretary to keep minutes and a record of what happens, what takes place. And it's pretty much a simple matter after that, the chairman would have the ballots collected and the votes voted on to see who wins. Does anybody have any questions with that? Okay, I guess, did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do any members of the board have any particular questions of Mr. Doney? He was asked to come up.
No.
Mr. Doney, is there anything you would like to add?
No, not really. I You know, I had a chance to look at the lawsuit, and it's early to comment on it, but, you know, certainly we're comfortable defending it, and you know, we'll move forward with that.
Okay.
Right, because your firm has done a very good job in the past on litigation for the district, and that's why I highly recommend it. So I guess that takes care of the main thing. One of the main things we had to do today was address this lawsuit, and I guess that's been taken care of. Does anybody have any questions on that? Yes, sir.
My question is, the hiring of an attorney subject to competitive bidding?
Pardon me?
Is the hiring of a law firm subject to a competitive bidding process?
The bidding process? No,
It's not a requirement?
no, not that I'm aware of.
And will be Coquina funds used to pay for the,
Pardon me?
Coquina funds will be used to pay for the defense?
Well, yes, of course. Just like any defendant, anybody that gets sued, they gotta pay their own lawyer. I haven't found one yet that'll work for nothing.
So in hiring a firm, committing those dollars, why wouldn't it be subject to a competitive bidding process?
My understanding is it's basically an administrative type procedure. And there are certain deadlines that have to be met. For example, I think there's 20 days that something's got to be done with this lawsuit. You can't even have another meeting within 20 days to consider these things. This is an administrative thing. Anybody else?
I was just thinking that should go out to bid for who you use for a lawyer. You can get that in 20 days.
Pardon me?
I think you should have 3 different lawyers and have a price from 3 different ones, and we should be able to pick, the board should be able to pick which one based on the price of the lawsuit.
Bill, what do you think of that?
I mean, it could be done, but there is a 20-day deadline to
Right.
get an answer from.
Let me just explain, the 20 days starts today.
I understand that, but we came prepared. You guys should have already been prepared. I just think that since this lawsuit's gonna be a great amount of money, I think that we should have a bid from 3 different lawyers of how much it's gonna cost, instead of just giving it to one guy that, yeah, and I just don't think it's right that way. All of us in this room will agree.
Okay, I understand your position.
You're custodians of the taxpayers' funds, and I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for the proper due diligence in selecting a firm and committing those kinds of dollars without doing the due diligence process.
Yes, ma'am.
According to statute, Florida statute 298, the board has the obligation to hire its own attorney. There's nothing about bidding for it.
No,
The board is
I
solely
understand.
responsible for hiring its
I
attorneys.
understand, that's,
Could you quote that statute?
It's 298, I don't
Which
remember.
one?
Look it up.
I will.
Back to you again.
sure.
I just think because it's such a large sum of money that's gonna be taking place here, that you owe the respect as a board to the landowners to use our money correctly. And we should have the right
Saying it.
to say which attorney we're gonna use, instead of you guys just shooing in him. We understand that the board has the right, but the board also has to listen to the board members, because the board isn't running underneath a charter like it's supposed to be. So that's another violation.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, what's your next agenda?
Engineer,
I'm gonna have to improvise a little bit. I didn't get out of the office with my little itemized report. I have the water control plan, the report of engineer, all of the main things that I need. It's really not much as far as the monthly report, not really much different than last month. The first item would be the water control plan. I've given you all a copy of it. The water control plan is no different than what we looked at back in February, March of this year. It's been reviewed by South Florida. We never did receive any comments. The additional information I have added is the report of engineer that goes with it. And, much of that is the same as it was previously. There's an estimate in here of the costs associated with the water control plan. Now, as far as doing that, as I've noted in here, I used like an equipment price for each piece of machinery to come up with that cost. I would say our costs are really lower, but we're gonna get into a real accounting exercise to depreciate and try to figure maintenance and everything that goes along with that. So I did it based on an hourly cost of the equipment. The only other changes in the report of engineer really were the previous one had a different number of parcels that were receiving Coquina benefits. All my data is from January of this year. I didn't provide everyone with my C1 exhibit. This is it if anyone wants to look at it. It's simply a list of all the owners that receive benefits are assessed Coquina's taxes. It's a list of all the property owners, their acreage, and their parcel number.
Okay.
And once all this is approved, I'll provide a signed and sealed copy, for record. So I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments as far as the water control plan.
Might be next meeting.
Okay. We're not gonna take that any further. I'll move on down my list. The next item would be the Coquina, the small mines, the south pits. I am working toward closing out the eastern pit. That's the agreement I have with South Florida right now. The western pit, we are not gonna be able to route the water through that pit currently. I'm gonna have to come up with a design for section 33 to account for that drainage loss there, the function of the way that it used to function. Gonna have to reroute some water and do some permitting through South Florida. And then along with that, close out the western pit. The western pit continues to have turbidity issues. They don't seem like they're gonna go away, and South Florida's just not gonna let it be. So, I do not currently have a design, but with the board's approval, I would like to start, we better start working toward it, otherwise I expect this to become a compliance issue with South Florida. And what I refer to as the redesign of section 33 and closeout of the western pit. The eastern pit won't be an issue, unless we have some damages to repair there. And those western pits.
So the turbidity thing is just due to,
Even South Florida and
Right.
myself, I guess it must be just the exposure at the edges and it being a shallow so long, any wind is mixing that up. I myself, the people I've met with at South Florida, we can go in and apply chemicals and make that stuff fall out. But we think as soon as the wind kicks up, start wave action, it's gonna stir right back up. We're gonna be wasting money.
okay.
So, and Mike, since you're newer, along the Peavine, it used to come and then make the turn by the landfill
Right.
and run right on through there. I'm gonna have to, that water there, I'm gonna have to reroute some different directions to get it to Canal B, because we're just not gonna be able to discharge that. If sometime in the future this thing miraculously clears up, I don't foresee a problem going back and reopening that. I think they've even said, you know, they're probably gonna allow us to probably put a permanently attached plate on the structure. But, you know, in the future, if it clears up, we can go in and see about even taking it out and keep the structure there. But it's just, I don't understand. It's just something that's happened and it doesn't seem to go away. I thought last year it was going away, but here it is back again.
I know there was a lot of blame on other issues, what was causing it, that's all, you know, my concern was, but.
Well,
Yeah.
the stuff with, right there, that's that. What's happening, you know, in the canals and other places, I think a lot of it just has to do with the soil type that we're dealing with in the area.
It's a more base.
Why it's getting, you know, I know why it's getting stirred up there. Other places I'm not quite so understanding of. There, I think if you have a pit that's a half a mile long, shallow, wind blows right, a lot of wave
Yeah,
action.
okay, thanks.
So I guess I'm gonna circle back on, is the board in agreement with moving forward with modifying the permit in section 33 to take care of the drainage and the closeout of the western pit?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Gotta get an eye on that.
I will,
I didn't hear you. Did you say?
I didn't say anything, Ms. Miles, no.
No, I said I make a motion. Who
No, I
seconded
think
it?
Annie seconded it. so-
Okay, all in favor?
I'll aim to have a preliminary plan for the next meeting on how we'll move forward with that.
Okay.
Other items on my list are generally just kind of what they've been, you know, the additional guardrail, construction, last few. When we get to it, I would say we do Canal C on the north grade next. I don't know that we need guardrail there. I think we should do the same type of thing we did on Canal D. Moving down the list, Canal A reconstruction, same kind of thing, which just has to stay on top of all the maintenance. Last meeting, I suggested that probably the next time we mow, it's likely gonna need a mowing. So I would start maintaining it that way. Pretty much the same thing with Canal D where the reconstruction occurred. Need to maintain, keep on top of everything. I doubt that it's to the point it needs a mowing.
No.
Other items, next dry season, we have some of these crossings that we just discovered when the water was so low, they have some repairs that are necessary, so when the water goes down, take care of those. Improvements on 3 Mile, just kind of waiting till we get to the point to start. A little more shoulder work and whatever prep, I don't know what shape it's in now, I haven't been out since the storm.
It's in pretty good shape right now. We're just trying to get some other projects cleared up before we start on another one.
Seems to be a lot of erosion issues right now. Is that,
I would guess, I haven't been out, I need
Yeah.
to get out, and the other thing, I've made a call, to see about to find out who the FEMA contact is, in case there is some funding associated with the storm. I need to get out there and take a ride around sometime.
Do
I
we
know
have
we
any
had, I know you had,
major damage?
We had some damage to our south pit. It washed about 6 feet of the bank away. Besides that, the road's pretty much held up. There was a couple of minor washouts in the roadways, which was very minimal. Besides that, I mean,
My thoughts is I would reach out to them and do any necessary preliminary paperwork that we need to do, and then we make a decision. It may not be worthwhile to go through the process if there's.
Yeah, well, generally, the usual flooding on 101 side.
Well, there's flooding like we haven't seen before.
right,
With this hurricane, I mean, everywhere.
but the water left pretty
This
quick,
last
so.
one, really?
I mean, across the state. I'm sure you guys had plenty. I know we saw a lot of things we've never seen. That's all I have.
Okay. Superintendent?
The only thing I got today is, we're, continue working on some of these roads, trying to shape them back up, without having to haul a bunch of dirt to them. Like I said a while ago, we sustained some damage from Irma, but, nothing like in the past that we've had before. As soon as the Canal D's still up pretty high, but as soon as it gets down to where we can start setting culverts and get back in there and dress everything up and get it shaped up, we'll be starting on that, so.
What about the damage to Canal D and the 3 Mile Bridge? You fixed that yet?
3 Mile Bridge.
You had that problem with Derek?
Well, before the storm, I went through and opened up all the cul-de-sacs, so, because we knew the storm was coming, I opened all the cul-de-sacs up. So all the main side roads would be able to drain without any erosion. There's some erosion on Canal D that was previous, but the canal got up too high and I couldn't get in there to finish the work and repair it. But as soon as the canal goes down, we'll be back in there and get everything fixed and get the culverts installed.
Okay. Anything else?
And then
James Griffith?
Yes. Should I stand here or come up?
Feel free.
Oh,
Come forward and speak up so all the recording devices get you good. Please and thank you, sir.
Question, you closed out the nomination for candidates earlier. If by chance another candidate appears, can we vote for him? If we like him?
Sure,
Yeah.
if they can get enough votes to.
Okay, so they don't really have to sign up then? They don't have to sign up.
They need to, report their name and address to the office.
Okay.
That's all they have to do.
Okay. Last year, I looked at last year, the vote that were recounted by, I believe,
Me?
Barbara's last.
I
You didn't
witnessed it, I
recount?
didn't count.
Okay, well, there's somebody.
I
recounted
witnessed,
last
but
year.
I didn't count.
Okay, well, whoever did came up with the result of 453 votes for Mr. Vincent, 461 votes for Mr. Fairclough. Am I saying that right, Danny? Fairclough, right? Okay, I'm sorry, I just want to be right. I looked at the 461 votes. There were only 163 of them that were actually qualified. He did not win this election. In addition to that, Mr. Miles, you turned in 78 proxies. Of those 78 proxies, 41 of them have unpaid taxes and non-ownership. There's a slew of reasons why. There's 4 or 5 reasons that they disqualified, the majority of which were unpaid taxes. Just the disqualified votes that you turned in alone makes Mr. Vincent the winner last year. Just
So,
yours alone.
May I say something, Mr.?
Sure, sure.
I'm not aware of taxes that is not unpaid on whatever I turned in. But, this been a year, so why didn't Mr. Vincent call for a recount?
We did.
We did.
When was,
It was recalled.
You refused us
You
last
refused
year.
us.
when was that?
Last year at the meeting. Yes,
Did you get
ma'am.
did you get a
Yes,
recount?
ma'am.
Did you get,
Yep.
Can I ask?
let Mr.
Wait a
let
minute,
me,
wait a
let
minute.
me
Let
say,
me just explain something. What you're talking about, and I understand it, I understand where you come from. All of this is addressed in this lawsuit. That's pretty much the basis of the whole thing.
There's more, but yes, you're right.
Pardon me?
There's more, but yes, you're right.
Right, but my point is that these matters that are addressed in this lawsuit are subject to being discussed and decided on here today.
I respect that.
All right, and it's not telling anybody they can't have their say what they want. If we have a trial in this lawsuit, you're more than welcome to get up and testify and present everything you have. But this isn't the time and the place. I'm not trying to cut you off, I'm just simply saying that we don't try these lawsuits in this form.
In this form, I agree, and I respect that, and I'm trying to just talk
I
about some of
understand.
the obvious things.
Right.
So I have a question or even a request. Can you review the same thing and correct this before the hearing? Mr. Vincent won this election.
I
And to
haven't,
move forward from here.
yeah, I could review whatever you want, yeah, that's not a problem. But I'm saying that the ultimate decision is gonna be made in this lawsuit, whether it goes to trial, whether it's settled, whatever the outcome is. So, it's not that I don't wanna do it, or I wouldn't do it, but it wouldn't have any effect on what has to be done.
Outside of the lawsuit, my question, put the lawsuit aside. My question is knowing that Mr. Faircloth did not win last year, and the proof is in the votes. It's simple. It really is, and we all know how to do it. Just eliminating those who didn't pay taxes puts Mr. Vincent in the seat for 3 years. I'd like to see that corrected before the upcoming vote. I'd like to see that. It's the
We all-
right thing to do.
We all would as a neighborhood.
Yes.
It's the right thing to do.
Should have been rock
Okay.
And
solid.
Danny Faircloth's position is who's up for.
Let me do this, and I apologize, I don't recall his name right offhand, Mr. Fitzgerald, I think, or?
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, yes. I've had a few conversations with him. Very nice man, knows what he's doing. Let me discuss this with him, I'll be happy to do that, but I'm sure as the attorney that filed that lawsuit, he doesn't want to start going off in all different directions trying to decide what may be true in it and what may not be true in it. That's why we have lawsuits. But I'd be happy to discuss it with him if there's something that could be done along the lines you're talking about that may satisfy you or whatever, but this just isn't the time to do it or the place.
Okay, it's an introduction.
But I mean, it's an open door as far as I'm concerned.
Right, and I appreciate that, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Sure.
One question pertaining to his,
the public comment? Go ahead.
who counted the votes last year? Do we have those names? Because it should be public information to all of us today.
We don't know
Of
who
who counted those votes?
Who counted them?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I believe-
Who qualified them and voted them in as a chairman? And then who were the people that actually counted them?
I would have to go back and see the minutes. I really don't know, but we can find that out.
Okay.
Yeah, because we need to find out who counted the votes last
Sure.
year.
And we can do that. I just don't have the minutes in front of me.
How come you don't know who counted them when you were there?
You ran the whole thing.
I wasn't there when the votes were counted.
Who was there? Your daughter, right?
She was one of them, yes.
She was there while the votes were being counted?
She was one of them, yes.
Yes, and she was counting votes?
Pardon me?
She was one of the ones counting votes?
It's not a question of counting them, it's a question of verifying them.
No, let me get into this here.
Well, we would just like
We
to know
just
who
want an
counted.
answer.
we
Let
would
me
just
get
like to
into
know
this.
who counted the votes.
The paralegal who is, Aaron, she did the counting. I witnessed, she witnessed, that was the second counting. When when the counting was here that day, it was announced that whoever want to witness the counting go witness
Okay,
it.
but
Counted those votes.
The vote was counted by the paralegal.
Okay,
so it was counted by
Aaron.
by Aaron, right?
Yes,
Or-
that's the
okay.
part,
Okay.
yeah.
And she was appointed by who to count them? The community as the landowners committee?
No,
Appointed her to do that?
You did, right?
Who appointed her? to
You know,
count the votes?
you're asking a lot of questions. I can't sit here and answer. I don't know if anybody else can off the top
Well,
of
this
their head.
people was there.
You got, wait a minute.
no, let me say something.
Yes.
The votes were counted here
By
By
who?
who?
by,
Aaron.
no,
No,
by the landowner.
Hold on, by who?
Hold on, the first count was, were you here, Mr. Vincent, when?
He wasn't allowed to count the votes?
No, don't get into this now.
I was present when the votes were counted.
Okay, the vote were counted and put on the
And
board
when
here.
at the end of the time the votes were counted, I was ahead in the votes.
Okay,
And then there was a recount requested.
Mr. Fairclough called
Because
for
they didn't like
a
the beginning.
recount. The recount was done at the library, which any member of the public could have gone and do it, because she announced that. I went and
You're
witnessed the
answering my
counting.
question.
But who did the recount?
Aaron did the
Who
recount.
qualified
So
them?
Aaron, the paralegal, did the recount?
Yes.
So there was nobody appointed by the landowners association, a chairman?
Nobody was there apart from, I'm a landowner, so I witnessed, she's a landowner, that's
You
it.
had a room full of people that day, and you guys decided to count them yourself.
You were landowner, but you
Let
weren't.
me just say this. You're getting back into this.
Well, you
I'm not
know,
getting
The whole
back
business,
into it.
wait
I
a
asked
minute, the
question
whole
of
business.
Just a
counting the
minute,
votes, and
just
I
a
asked
minute.
simple question.
just a minute,
When these votes had to be verified, it
Just a
was
minute.
explained at that meeting how they would be verified, what they would be looked for, vote by vote.
Okay.
Nobody objected to that.
Okay, so then that means that if all these votes,
No, that just means nobody objected to it.
okay.
All right,
You
now,
never
if,
said that out loud.
if part of what this lawsuit is addressing, we've determined that. That's why they have the lawsuit.
None of you.
This isn't just about the lawsuit.
Yeah,
This is
it
about
is
the
about
fact that we
there's
want it done
too many
honestly
people here
and
right now.
correctly.
One at a time,
I'm still
please.
trying to get my question answered.
One at a time,
So,
please.
we're just verifying that the first time you counted the votes?
No, the first time I witnessed, I
Okay,
was the second.
who counted them?
Thank you.
Aaron,
Okay, thank you. And
No,
she checked
no.
them
Oh,
for
yes.
taxes and qualified.
She
You
just-
said
The
Aaron.
first time they were counted was when whoever was elected chairman.
Who was elected chairman?
I don't know,
Miles?
it's in the minutes.
Mr.
Can we have a copy of the
Steven,
minutes?
Yes,
Steven,
please.
Stephen Daniels?
yes,
No, Stephen Dennison.
Stephen
Dennison, yeah, he,
The landowners collected the first votes. We put them on the board as they were read out. We put them up and we counted the votes 3 times.
But who verifies that the votes are fraudulent or not?
I'm
How are they
sorry.
voting?
Who
vetted the
You have
vote?
to check for
who's supposed to
taxes,
verify
and
that the taxes are paid and we're just trying to make sure that we know how all this works
but she
for
does that.
2 weeks.
She called in and verified if the taxes were paid.
Excuse me.
Enough, both of you.
No, we need to get
She
her
needs to
moved
be
out
removed
of,
from the room.
yes.
I didn't say anything. She called me an
Be
F
quiet.
word.
There's a sidebar, man, be quiet.
I'm talking. Thank
Behind
you,
the
Ms.
computer, be
Slacks.
quiet.
She's done.
Ma'am, I'm telling you to be quiet, please.
I'm talking. So we're just trying to verify of how it went down, so we know what to look forward for in 2 weeks.
Right.
Because we want to make sure this is run
I
the
just-
right way. And
In 2
we just want to
weeks-
know who verifies all the addresses and the signatures and the property taxes that have been paid.
Well, let me answer that part of it.
Okay.
The addresses, I don't know if the addresses are verified, but the tax has to be paid, and that was verified by her, because she called in every one of them.
So,
And the ones that,
so she's the
no
one that was,
taxes is paid,
so she's the one that's in charge of calling
Yes.
and making sure the taxes
Yes.
are paid and they're not paid, is his daughter?
yes.
Oh, that's, okay.
She's a paralegal.
Can you ask why all my votes were thrown out?
Yeah.
All my taxes were
And
paid.
another reason
I'll be a man by
No, CFS Properties, why was all his votes thrown out?
I cannot answer that, sir.
Well, I would like to know, my company would like to know.
I cannot answer that because I didn't verify the vote and I did not count
Can
it.
I ask you another question?
Yeah.
So, once we come to figure out that the votes are fraudulent, are the two of you willing to step out of your seat?
For what?
Well, he's sitting in there illegally, his term's up. Mike Vincent clearly won, so he's gonna
I
take the
didn't- I
three-year
didn't
seat,
do the
and Danny's the
counting,
one that's
sir.
gonna be leaving this year.
I did not do the counting.
But you're a witness.
You're a witness.
I just witnessed that the process is done properly.
I hope you guys really get it under control in 2 weeks. Because we're not gonna have any of this going on
I
there.
just told you if you were listening.
I was listening.
Were you listening?
Yes, I was.
Okay, do you know how to verify votes?
Yes, I do. I did.
Then at the next election, you will do it.
I can't, I'm running.
Huh?
I can't,
Why not?
because I'm a candidate.
All right, then you appoint someone.
I will. I appoint, right now, James Griffin as the chairman.
I second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Listen,
All in
this
favor?
is, hold on. You have to wait until the landowners meeting, then you appoint the chair.
This is a landowners meeting.
No, this is not. This is Coquina's meeting. Now, you appoint a chairman and you appoint a secretary to take the minutes. That's what you do in the landowners meeting. Mr. Stevenson, Steve was the chairman and Patricia Petticourt was secretary in the last meeting. We have the minutes here.
Okay.
So when the landowners meeting, you appoint your chairman and you appoint your secretary. That's how it is done. This is not the landowners meeting.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
when the landowners meeting next month, that's what you do. That's what landowners do. They appoint chair and they appoint secretary.
Well, we just wanted to make it clear who was the one that
Were
counted.
you at the last?
No, I wasn't.
Okay,
My wife
so
was.
Yeah, I was there.
My
you were
wife's been
here.
at every meeting.
Okay, so, you have to appoint a chair for the landowners meeting and a secretary that does the minutes.
Yeah.
Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Huh? Can you stand up? Were you the chairman in the last landowners meeting?
No,
Who was?
it's me, I didn't, witness.
Excuse me, Steve? You were nominated the chairman, along with Pat, the secretary.
You were the chairman and Pat Petticourt was the secretary. I don't believe this.
Who appointed them? Who appointed them?
Who appointed you?
No.
Who appointed them? The
Well,
landowners with the...
No.
So you just told me that the landowners didn't appoint anybody last time, that his daughter did.
No.
You guys are good.
No. You're trying to put this
Don't,
thing.
you just listen.
Listen, no, you're trying to. The year before, Steve was the chair.
You just said he was last year for.
Now listen, let me finish.
Okay.
2015, I have it here. He was chair. 2016, he came back and be the chairman again.
He said he wasn't the chairman. The man just said he didn't do it. You have to nominate
No,
him.
he can't. No, something is wrong.
It's on film that you it's on film that we're gonna get you.
Guys, please.
It's not the board, it's the landowners, you make a voting, and then you
You're gonna go to
decide.
jail.
That person wants to know, you have to ask him if he wanted to
not.
be back the chairman. But probably you didn't ask him because he said no.
Wasn't asked.
May I be heard? And who appointed her too? You said that we're both of them.
Yes, you may be heard.
I was at last year's landowners meeting.
Steve Dennison had been the chairman from the year before, and we called for a new chairman and a new secretary. And everybody nominated Steve again. He said he didn't want it. And they said nobody else was nominated. So reluctantly, he stood as chair last year, and Patricia Petticord stood a second time as secretary. She took the minutes, she turned the minutes in. It is all on video recording. I don't know what Steve's thinking of right now.
Where's the video?
Okay.
Where's
I
the
don't have
video?
to show you anything.
Where's the video?
I don't know what's wrong with you, Steve, where you were.
There is video, because she does her videoing privately. It doesn't
Oh,
come-
Doesn't belong to you.
Yes,
She states repeatedly that she videos on your behalf. Every time she speaks,
never
she
said
says
that.
we.
No,
I never
We.
said that.
We.
I never
You
said
denied
that,
my
sir.
public records when she says she videos
No.
on your behalf.
I
think-
never
don't
said
you
that. Stop
video
putting
your
words
own
in my
stuff?
mouth.
You just said it a minute ago. It's on video.
It's my video, and I don't do
It's on
anything for
video.
them.
It's on video. You just said it a minute ago
I
yourself.
don't do it for them.
Does anyone want to, verify these here?
What is yes, bring him here. I want to see.
Okay.
Are those the
No,
minutes?
Jim.
Jim.
Are those
Yeah.
the minutes? Are those the minutes of the
Yes,
landowner
this
meeting?
is, let me talk to you.
Give him the chairman, Jim.
Okay. Now, this is 2015.
Oh, 15,
This is 2016.
okay.
And this is the agenda that Mr. Steve here it is. This is what took place.
But if he didn't want to be the chairman, but.
No, he was the chairman the year before.
I know, but did you ask?
Were you
him?
here when
No,
Connie was here?
I wasn't here, but.
Okay.
Why is it so hard for you to just answer a direct
Let
question?
me finish. Don't you interrupt me. Now, Connie was the chair one year, when he was here. And it was handed over to Steve, 2015. Steve came back and did it 2016. So I don't know how he did it, huh?
But was he asked to do it again in 2000?
Yes, because nobody wanted to.
signature that he'd have to sign to be the chairman?
Absolutely.
This is what he went by.
The minutes that he accepted to be the chairman,
Yes.
to be
Yes.
part of the county, the
And
county.
it says in there that he was acceptable.
That's a printed signature.
I don't care what the prediction is, that's what she gave us.
It could be left over from the year before. It's like all your properties.
See, these are all of them. I don't do anything to them.
You say,
All right, guys, please.
would you say that the minutes for the 2016 landowners meeting is
If he
accurate?
wanted to be the chairman. then-
That is how she did our minutes. We don't have anything to do with the landowner's minutes. It's right here. She gave me a copy.
Okay.
That's what she did. I get a copy, 2015, and that is the format that Steve used, because Barbara print that for him. So I don't know what, maybe he's not here. Something is wrong.
He said he never said meeting in order. That's what he said.
We still, since I
This
can
is your-
talk, we still, as the landowners, would like a request on a bid. And I know that you can get a bid from other lawyers within days, because recently I had to go get one for a little incident I had, and I got one the next day. So, it wasn't real hard. You just gotta strike a check for it, which, that wasn't real hard either. So,
One
I
at a
think
time,
as the
please. We need some order
landowners, you
here.
guys really should send this, because this is gonna be a lot of money. And we, the people, are the ones paying the taxes out there. So we the people don't feel comfortable with using this guy
You,
as
the
the
people, are the
community.
ones that are bringing the lawsuit against them.
That's
So you wait for
Exactly,
the
so we're
lawyer.
paying twice.
Cool, it's cute.
Against us?
Hey.
Keep it going, lady. Hey, keep driving by my house too. I got you on camera. Yeah, you do.
I do.
So,
I just want to make a quick point of order. If y'all notice, every time Barbara speaks, she places herself on behalf of the board. She claims in her own speech that she operates on behalf of the board. If she operates on behalf of the board, what right does she have to withhold the videos that she's kept?
correct.
Operate on a company.
By
Just
your
so you know.
own statement.
Well, you can make all the accusations you want, you can't back them up.
Actually, I
The
can.
newspaper did.
These are public roads.
And thank you for putting your name in the newspaper.
Have I ever been hired by or represented the board ever?
No.
So she's never been there on hold on. So she's never been there on behalf of Coquina to record a video of
No,
minutes of the
her
meeting.
video, she came, let me explain this to you. 2015, I think Barbara came in, that's how I met her. She started recording her own stuff. Have nothing to do with Coquina.
Then if that's her own stuff, then it has nothing to do with Coquina's minutes.
Well, I could say he's recording his own stuff too.
Right, but I released my videos. I don't make any
Well,
claims to
okay,
one way or the other.
for
They're
two
for
years,
public consumption.
listen, for 2 years, she had all the video, every monthly meeting up on YouTube because I
No,
see.
she hasn't.
Yes,
No, ma'am, she
did.
has not. That is a lie.
She has
So
not
you
posted
can't tell
any
the truth because
videos.
they're not willing to listen.
Where is
to
it
you.
posted?
You need to learn to tell the truth before you put things in paper.
Why does she keep attacking me when I open my mouth?
Because you're a liar.
No, we have to stop that now.
Okay.
We have to stop that now.
Let me ask, I'm sorry,
Okay,
one more quick question.
For 2 years, let me finish.
Go ahead.
For 2 years, did you see the meeting on YouTube that Barbara put up? Okay,
The latest one was 2015. There's been none since. I watched them all.
the last one, yes, we had them in 2016.
So let me ask you another question in the same line of discussion. 3 months ago, I put in 2 written requests for public records. Public records request under the Florida Public Records Act.
Right.
Written and signed and documented. I asked for one to be any recorded video having to do with Coquina meetings for 2016, 2017.
Did you get a
responded,
reply?
listen to me.
Did you get a reply?
I'm speaking. You responded with a letter that there were no video recordings,
Right.
which I have argument with, but we'll deal with that later. But I also put in a second request for all the audio recordings of the meeting. And as of date, 3 months later, I've still not gotten a response from you or access to those public records, which would state all the things that we are arguing about now, those hold proof of. So why are you withholding those
You don't
records?
have to shout on me because I can go high.
I want to make sure the recording devices
No,
can hear me.
I can go high too. Now, I did not get the last order,
They were
letter.
both delivered at the same
Let
time.
me finish. Yesterday I got that from him. Just yesterday. Yesterday I got that from him.
So you're going to say it's all Butch's fault?
Yep.
Didn't
You're
you
gonna
give
throw
me
Butch
this
under the bus.
yesterday?
The reason I thought there was
Hold on, explain yourself. Explain
I
yourself.
received 2 letters.
Uh-huh.
I thought there was a copy of the same letter.
Okay,
I didn't
you-
realize one was for audio and one was for video.
Okay, so did you give me that
I talked to you
yesterday?
about that.
Did you give me that yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so that clears that up.
So when do I get access?
When you get access, I have no, there is a recording that Erin used for the minutes. She have that. I don't have
Okay.
it. And what she does, she print the minutes from those recordings.
119.0111 or 011 says that I'm to get immediate access. Immediate. It uses the term immediate. Not when you feel like it.
You know
Immediate.
what? That letter I got yesterday, I think I have it in the my bag here. It is undated. You didn't put a date on
Okay.
it. You put 48 hours, but you did not put a date on
I
it.
said I would come back in 48 hours
But
to see
I'm
what the
telling you,
response
I
was.
got that
When I came back, I
yesterday.
had no response.
Yesterday.
So now you admit that yesterday you finally got the letter.
Yes.
When do I get access? Which was
Well,
my first question.
well, we have to just work on this 48 hours again.
Immediate.
I don't have order on.
The law, state statute 119.011, refer to your attorney if you misunderstand it, says immediate access. Not when you feel like
Can
it,
you
not when
answer
it's
that, Mr.
convenient.
Young?
It says immediate.
Can you answer that?
Immediate, right. You're correct on that, but that doesn't mean instantaneous, okay?
3 months later, 3 months later, doesn't matter who you blame, 3 months later.
Just a minute, wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
One at a time, please.
Let's limit it to what we're gonna do with Coquina, okay? Everybody's got their own personality problems, that's fine.
This is not a personality
Now, wait
issue, this is a
minute.
functional issue of Coquina.
That's right, and we can address that, but not by shouting it out here, okay? If you've got a problem with it, come to me. I don't even know I haven't seen any letters.
I think
But
that's
everybody-
dereliction of duty, just the fact that you haven't seen them.
We're here to do this Coquina business, and let's get on with it.
This is the only
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Now,
whoa.
wait a minute.
No, hold on, on. I have a response to this. I have a rebuttal. Danny Faircloth nor Dorothy Miles make themselves available. And quite explicitly, and I have it recorded, Dorothy Miles feels that since I have a felony record, I have a criminal background, that negates my rights as a landowner, and she does not have to answer to me.
Did I say that?
Yes, ma'am. At the end of last
On
month's
video.
meeting. I have it on video. I recorded you.
I don't know anything about, your rights are not negated, okay?
According to her, they are.
Yes.
She stated that flatly,
Yes, she did.
in no uncertain terms.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question regarding,
Yes.
regarding the lawsuit. When you have the lawsuit, it says you must respond within 20 days?
I'm sorry?
It says you must respond within 20 days?
In 20 days.
What's your definition of respond? What must you have within 20 days? Is it going before a judge and asking for an extension? Is it saying we're gathering our information, we're doing our due diligence?
You can ask for
You
an
know,
extension.
or do we have to be within those 20 days, have our courtroom packed full of lawyers and witnesses?
You have to file either an answer or some type of a motion to dismiss or whatever.
Well, then
Now,
that
you
should
can
not
also
be
ask-
a problem if we're going to try and get bids for the attorneys. That shouldn't be a problem. All we need to do is,
Okay, well-
you know, is get an extension or explain to the judge what's going on, and the legal system works.
You don't have to have counsel to answer your 20 days.
Okay, we've been over this. Does anybody else have any questions on it? Yes, ma'am.
Dorothy, if you got the letter yesterday and it's supposed to be immediate, why didn't you call Erin and have her give it to him to bring today?
Okay.
You've had 24 hours.
Yes, I did call her. Listen to me, I did call her and she's out of town. She replied to me, she's out of town.
And to be clear, I also included my phone number in that document. At any time, you could have called me and said, hey, this is what the situation is. At any time.
Okay, what's the next thing on the agenda?
Approval of the minutes.
Anybody approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
The warrant. Make a motion to approve the
Folks,
warrant.
please, please, can we keep the noise down?
The minutes and the warrant.
The minutes and the warrant. Where's the calendar? The next, meeting will be,
Did you approve the warrant?
huh?
Are we still in the public comment section here?
It's closed, sir.
It's closed?
Yeah.
So, I didn't know it was officially open. I thought we were addressing one particular issue.
That's good.
It's closed. So,
You have the calendar. When is the 13th?
Friday the 13th.
We have one gentleman just.
October, Friday the 13th.
Excuse me. My name is Ranger Chuck Mullen from the Forest Service. I didn't hear you guys say that the meeting was closed until you started writing down. But I have.
No, the meeting is not closed. The public comment is closed.
Okay, so I can still address an issue?
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, last year we had a pretty intense fire season out there in the prairie. We burned over 15 to 1,800 acres out there, plus little ones. We had a fire out there recently, about a month and a half, and we were trying to get to the fire, and we noticed that there's some barriers in front of these roads that go along the canals. Trying to get our brush trucks in there in the fire department, we couldn't fight the fire. We had to go around the block to keep coming back and fighting fire. Now, I'm just wondering, is there a way we can remove those barriers, because they're impeding public safety right now? And if those barriers don't get removed, will you have a problem with us knocking them into the canal to get them out of the way when we need to get in there?
Brian, can you answer that, please?
Go Brian under.
I'm not sure there's
I've
barriers
said
legal
on
to begin with.
On A canal, they could be removed. That was just to get things stabilized. It was a temporary thing. And if there's a problem and it needs to be gated,
So-
then that's,
Let me ask a question, sir. Do you drive on the canal?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you drive on the canal?
drive on the roads that are next to the canal, that run along the canal, anywhere you have to go, we go. And if that road is blocked, it impedes public safety and it impedes us from doing our job. So those are actually a barrier, and we had to go, instead of being able to take our brush trucks and get right to the fire, we actually had to go all the way around the block to come around to the other side and keep going back.
But one of you need to answer that, Butch.
It's awfully big bus too, he's under.
You work on the canal, you work on the canal.
They're temporary. Once the canal gets stabilized with vegetation, they will be removed.
Well,
And then
answer
there will
his
be-
question.
It's been there for a long time. We had
Well, once the canal gets stabilized with vegetation, and if no more erosion happens, they will be removed. And then,
You can't put fences on it, because
In the
you'll have to
meantime,
rip
don't
the
let 'em
fences
out.
down. That's what he's saying, it's for public access. You can't block it off.
You have bolt cutters if there's gates?
How long is,
No, bulldozer.
how long is temporary? Because it's been a while. And, you know,
Guys, please.
when it comes to erosion and stuff like that, nothing's gonna stop the erosion. You might have to put up some, sod, or you might have to put up some sheet piles or something there and actually.
Sir?
But we're gonna be riding on with dozers and brush trucks back and forth. And with those barriers there, time is lives. We've lost, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment out there this year, just from one dozer burning.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of property, a lot of damage, and every time we go out there and
Look
see
at
something
those
burned
was
down,
right in
it
tree
pisses me
my
off.
area.
So if there's a way that we can get those removed before next fire season, would be great, but they impeded us this year, and that's unnecessary. So if there's something we can do about it, I appreciate it.
I'd like to add to what he's talking about, please. The property that he's referring to is privately owned, it's not Coquina property. Those people have granted Coquina an easement to use the property, you don't own it. It is unlawful for you to block the landowner from accessing his property. You have no right to gate it, you have no right to put up one of these highway dividers to block the access to the landowners, to the property that they own. It's a big issue, and you block people from accessing their own homes, emergency services, from getting in people's property.
She's not even listening.
Exactly what is being done.
This is the only question I've had on it in regard, except for the one at 3 Mr., I don't know if it was like Derek. That one was questioned. They asked me, and I deferred to, I asked him to talk to you about it, because I don't know what the, can we, what level of protection can we do to, while we're under construction and trying to get things stabilized?
I don't know, I'll have to look into what you're talking about, nobody's.
So how did those barriers
This
help
is
keep
all
the
brought up new
erosion
to me.
all the way down the canal?
Yeah, they
How do they keep it from eroding all the way down the canal?
So it's a reduction in traffic.
Well, there's no ATV riding out there, so there's no traffic.
Yeah, so,
So it's already eroded.
We paid for it.
That kind of came into play, I guess on D Canal, that was kind of coming into play. On A Canal originally, that wasn't,
best interest.
So the
Okay.
most west
So,
canal,
but-
what number is that? The
What's
most
that?
west canal?
What number?
A West, yeah.
Is the farthest one, so A canal? Well, that's been done for over 6-7
They-
months, that should be
They
gone.
can be removed.
Yeah, it should be gone.
Impeding safety.
Yeah, it's,
I've been here 17 years and I've never known the canals to be eroded.
We need to sign the budget.
They're done properly.
Yeah.
Brian, I'll get with you.
I have another question.
I don't know anything about it. First I heard.
Why is it that in the middle of the blocks between the road and the canal, the ditch is full of water to the top, which is almost 2 foot, and then when I go to the end of the road, the culvert pipe that drains the ditch at the end of the canal is 5 feet above the water level in the canal? Why are we not able to get the water from the middle of the road to the end of the road? And I would also have to, in that same vein, express that that's also a health issue, because all this extra standing water is multiplying our mosquito population exponentially, which I find extremely frustrating.
there's a lot of issues with the drainage system. It was a poor design to begin with. Much of there's many places where essentially you're trying to bring the water up the hill. But we're trying to make adjustments and get things in compliance with the existing permit.
Right.
If we take it, there's certain modifications we can do. And when we go so far, we have to bring the system into compliance to today's standards.
Right.
Which
But wouldn't that be part of it?
You're talking a huge undertaking. We're gonna have to, Coquina, you're gonna get into acquiring more land through, I'm sure, eminent domain to build much bigger reservoirs,
Yeah,
much
but-
larger systems.
but it seems to me-
A huge cost.
It seems to me that if we had the water moving to begin with, then every time we had a large rain, such as the hurricane we just went through, or the storm just prior to that dropped 13 inches of rain overnight, we would have to move as much water so quickly. Because the water will have already been drained down.
No, well, no. If you put in, if all the ditches are functioning, it has to go somewhere.
Yes.
And it's gonna be throttled at the outfall. You're not
Well-
gonna get more water coming, more water out.
Right.
It won't work that way. It's
But
throttled.
it would seem to me that, okay, the canal is so many feet wide. By the discrepancy between the depth of the culvert pipe versus the actual water level. So you have that many feet high of water to drain into the canal from the ditch. That's how many thousands of gallons that could be removed from our properties and our roads that would now be in the canals in between the rainy season. I understand that there's a backup. When we have 20 inches of rain at one time, that's a shit ton of water, pardon my French. That's a lot of water to move, I get that. But in between, now most of the water has dissolved or drained, even from Irma, which I must admit actually happened a lot better than I expected it to. But we still have standing water when there's a discrepancy from the middle of the block to the end.
Let me tell you this also, the way the permit was done.
Right.
And is, those roadside swales are a storage area for water. That's why all those aluminum pipes are laying there at Coquina, because all the open pipes that are at the end of the horseshoes at the end of the roads, they're not supposed to be open pipes. It's supposed to have a riser, as those are, with the little 4-inch hole that lets it down and controls it all.
The short answer
So,
is you're intentionally holding back water.
that's how the permit was written.
But
That,
also,
in a permit today, what's internal, I could push it around and get it to the reservoir how I want. This system, it cannot be done. Not from a legal standpoint, without re-permitting, and like I said, to bring it to today's standards, our reservoirs are gonna have to be
And
much larger.
it's the state that controls that?
Well, it's a permit through South Florida Water Management District.
Right, through the state of Florida?
Yes.
The public comments have been
So,
closed.
so I'm still in the middle. Can I please finish?
excuse me, Brian, I have a question. I have a question.
just Brian's.
I'm sorry,
Brian's up.
Brian's.
So, would that be the reasoning for Barbara Slack's statement that Coquina works for the state and not for the landowners? Is that what the general consensus is, that you guys work for the state?
But also if Coquina would have done more drainage than roads, probably we will have a better drainage system. And we want to be concerned about people riding in roads right now and dedicated more to what Coquina was created to be a water district, not a road district. Because all the money has been diverted to the roads and not to a specific drainage, and not make the water control plan work and affect everybody at the long run. So, Coquina should answer the landowners how much money, and Mrs. Meyer have said, only $25 was assigned for roads many years ago. I don't think $25 it's for roads. Coquina have used all the drainage money for roads. And the big concern you have is people destroying the roads, which should never have been done until you comply with the water plan.
Amen.
And $25, I don't think covers every single road It covers more.
But Mrs.
You said that was $25 for roads.
$25,
I don't think so.
$25 was added to the taxes 2007. We just did the taxes a month ago. It was not increased. Would you like for it to be
No, I'm not
increased?
talking about increase. You've been saying that you assign out of the money that you collect from the taxpayers' money, $25 for roads. Where out of the $63.10 that I pay for taxes, you take $25 for roads. I gotta tell you something, you only invest $25 for drainage, and the rest you spend on roads. And the reason you are complaining about people destroying roads is because that's the only thing you have directed the money. And according to the state attorney, if you read that letter, which I'm sure Mr. Young has copy of that, no money of the water district should be diverted for roads until you only allowed to maintain roads, no do roads, like you've been doing for the past years.
Fill in potholes and all to get the ditches and canals.
And $25 don't cover roads, so you tell me where you have spent all the rest of the money.
Well, Mrs. Rubin, let me explain to you. For 2 years, there was nothing done at Coquina for 2 years. So,
I've been here 17
2
years.
years?
Don't answer.
hold on, 2 years. There was no roads done,
But
just,
how about the previous years, Ms. Miles? No, don't tell me about those 2 years. How about the years?
But
We've
Mrs.
been here since
Mrs.
2000.
Rubin,
I've been here 17 years.
Mrs. Rubin, why did, you're just complaining now?
Why?
She complained to Mel.
I have proof.
She
When
complained
you
to
asked
Kenny
me to sign my
Childs.
right of way
We used to
on
come
my
to every
bench,
meeting.
you asked me to
You
sign.
sent her a letter. You sent her a letter. She asked to have her ditch in back of her property cleaned. Trees were this high in it. The water couldn't drain. She's got a copy of it. You sent her a letter
sent it to me.
stating that you would not clean it because it was on her property. At that time, she said to you, then move it to the other side of the road and give me my dirt back.
Mr. Clement, can you answer that question about going into Mrs. Rubin's property to clean her? That's the
I have more
problem.
questions to answer.
Huh?
The ditch has been cleaned.
No, the ditches are
has
not
not been
clean.
cleaned
You
in
go around
16
and you go on
years.
160, you go
On
around
250th
160,
and
and you
101,
see
but
that
it's
ditch
still
the way it
retaining
is.
water, but there's
I
no
pay
swale.
taxes for drainage, I don't pay taxes for roads. And you guys are all complaining about the ATVs riding on the roads. Why you don't take care of the business that Coquina is set for?
Those people pay taxes
298
too.
district is specified. No roads. And I want you to give me a balance sheet, how much money you have spent on roads and how much money you have spent on drainage.
Yeah.
And you will balance that you have spent more on roads than taking care of what you're supposed to be doing.
And excuse me, Brian, I just want to say, you said the swales or for the runoff. I have the corner of 250th and 101. I've had it for 16 years. I can ride on my property. I can drive on it from 101 because that swale has not been touched in 16 years.
I
So-
don't deny that Coquina's far behind.
Well, I'm
There's
far
lots
behind
to do.
16 years. It states in a paper every 18 months it's supposed to be done. I got a copy of it.
You haven't said the priorities, you never done, you only taking care of the roads, and that's the only thing that you worry about. Instead of calling yourself Coquina Water Control District, you should call yourself Coquina Road District. And that's why you should be collecting
And that was
taxes,
dissolved.
and then you should be lowering our taxes instead of increasing the taxes, because that's the rest thing you do. You don't take care of the main ditches that goes into the 101, whatever, 144, or the another side. No, the only thing you take care of is roads, and that's your main concern.
Well, they take care of
That's-
some around them.
Well, and the other road, Mrs. Myers Road, one time it had to be done and redone because it was too high.
The 5 minutes is up.
They put up the fence.
You're very caring.
This meeting is come to an adjourn. The next meeting is, October 13 will be the landowners meeting.
Friday the 13th.
That's always been a good day.
Target day. Isn't that, the 13th, Coquina's next meeting?
No, it's landowners.
So the landowners meeting was set for the 6th.
No, it is the 13th. The landowners meeting is the 13th, and after the landowners meeting.
Wait. I can't understand
Can I
you.
finish one word? So the.
Are you running the meeting?
The landowners
So you're part of
meeting.
Coquina again?
Hold on, why are you so loud?
Because I can't understand you, I expect you to speak up also.
Well, I speak French and
I don't know,
patois.
do you?
I know, speaking American
So?
is really nice.
So,
We speak English. Speak loud and speak English, please.
don't, this man seems to be stalking me.
Well, after all, he's a convicted felon. I mean, what do you want?
You're all stalkers. You're all stalkers.
Remember, I'm the gang leader.
I'm a bully too.
The meeting is adjourned. The next meeting is the 13th of October.
Wait, immediately following the landowners meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
And the landowners meeting starts at?
9 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Where, here?
On what day?
Excuse me,
The
where?
Is it the 13th? I couldn't understand. I can't understand anything she says. She mumbles.
We're gonna do a board meeting on the 6th.
Well, Aaron advised me to do the landowners meeting first and then Coquina's meeting after.
It's the same day, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Where is the meeting? Here?
No, it isn't Friday. But when?
I thought that there's October 6th.